Hello, children. Welcome to this class. This is chapter 7 Control and Coordination, part 3. In this video, we'll understand how plants coordinate. So the topic is 7.2 Coordination in Plants. Plants have neither nervous system nor muscle, so how do they respond to stimuli? Can you answer? Think for a while. Okay. What could be the answer for this? So, after a great research, it was found that the plants they undergo movements to protect themselves or for growth. The movements are of two types. One, the movement that is dependent on growth, and another movement that is independent of growth. The movement that is dependent on growth is called as the tropic movement, and the one that is independent of growth is called the nastic movements. So both these movements they have their different characteristic. The tropic movements they are directional and they respond to stimulus, but the nastic movements they are non-directional. They immediately respond to the stimulus. For example, the touch me not plant that you are seeing does not show the movement due to growth, but it is independent of growth and it is non-directional. It can move either downwards or in any direction. The movement is seen, but some movements they are very peculiar and they dependent on growth. In absence of these movement, they do not grow, or in absence of these stimulus. So we can categorize all these into four: phototropism, movement towards light; geotropism, movement towards gravity; chemotropism, towards chemicals; and hydrotropism, towards water. Before going details into the systems, we'll first take the movement that is called nastic movement. And you just now heard that it is independent of growth, non-directional, and it immediately gives response to the stimulus. And this is a touch me not plant, mimosa, and you are seeing that the plant it is the first picture shows it is without any touch, and the picture shows when it is touched. So do you know how this happens? The movement happens at a point different from the point of touch. So, information that a touch has occurred must be communicated. It should move from the point of touch to the other parts also. The plant also use electrical chemical means to convey this information from cell to cell. And the plants they change shape by changing the amounts of water in them, resulting in swelling or shrinking and therefore in changing shapes. The shape change is only because of the change in the amount of water in them, and the amount of water in them either it result in swelling or it result in shrinking. Now another movement that are called as tropic movements. These movements they dependent on growth. They are directional movements and they respond to the stimulus. Phototropism, a conical flask and a plant. You're seeing there's a growth of stem towards the light and the root that is away from the light. So this shows positive phototropism and the root shows negative phototropism. Then geotropism, the seeing towards the gravity. You can see here the shoot, they are moving away from the gravity, so they show negatively geotropic, and the roots they are showing positively geotropism because they are moving towards the earth or gravity. Chemotropism, you are seeing this pollen tube is moving towards the egg and ovule. This movement is characterized or controlled by the chemicals secreted from this ovule, and they attract the pollen tube germination. Hydrotropism, this is a movement of plant parts or towards the water, and here you can also perform this experiment at home. Take a pot, keep one porous pot into again a small pot into the bucket or anything vessel that you are carrying, then you will find that the seed, the growth of root will take place towards the water, which is located, which is in the direction of a pot. So the movement will show that the roots they are showing positive hydrotropism, but the shoots they didn't perform this, so they are showing negative towards hydrotropism or negative movement towards water. Do you know most multicellular organisms use another means of communication, and that is chemical communication. These chemical communication, why chemical communication is needed? Because you find that always electrical impulse stimulation is not possible. You cannot trigger every time an electrical impulse. If it is there, then sometime the signal will stop working, because continuous electrical signal is a dangerous. So to move this from another way, the plants they have developed special molecule. Plants and even some animals, they also have this type of messaging or coordination system based on special molecules. These chemical compounds are called hormones and secreted by special organs or glands, and they are received by each and every cell or the cell to which these hormones are targeting. On the surface of their molecules, on the surface of the cells, special molecules they receive and they act according to the hormone that is involved. So the plants they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basic hormones that are related to the growth of a plant. Some of them they promote growth, and some of them they are also important for stopping or inhibiting growth. So we have auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins as promoters, and ethylene gas and abscisic acid as the inhibitor. So what does auxin do? Auxins they help in elongation and differentiation of roots and shoots. Gibberellins they have a specialty that they are involved in elongation of stems, germination of seeds. Cytokinins, as the name suggests, they help in division of cell or promote cell division. Then the inhibitors, the ethylene is inhibiting growth, so it helps in the ripening of fruit. So you know that most of the fruits nowadays we get is made or is ripened with the help of it by producing ethylene gas. And the last one, that is abscisic acid, that help in wilting of leaves. So wilting of, why during the seasons the plant they shed their leaf, it's only because they are wilting and because of the action of hormone abscisic acid. Plus, it is very important, it is helping in seed dormancy. If the seeds are not dormant, you could think what would happen. We will not find anything in our kitchen boxes, no pulses and no rice and no wheat, because if the dormancy is not there or they are not inhibiting the growth, then they would grow again and again as soon as they get mature. So that's why these hormones are very essential, and they control the plant, coordinate the plant's growth and their development. So this all was about the plant. Now we'll move to the hormones that are found in animals also, and especially in human beings. So before that, we should understand what are hormones. Just like in the plants, we have discussed, the hormones are these chemical messengers secreted by special type of glands called as endocrine glands, and they are secreted in very small amount to act at same place or at distant places. They do not take part in any reaction and they are destroyed immediately. So we have endocrine glands as well as exocrine glands. You, in endocrine glands, the ducts are absent. Directly, the secretions are poured into the blood. But like lacrimal glands, like sweat glands, like tear, like uh, salivary glands, these all they pour their secretion into the ducts. So they are duct gland. They are endocrines are ductless glands. We can have this diagram, and this diagram shows how many different types of endocrine glands are present in the human body. So most of the glands, they are similar in the males and the female. Now you can see a pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pancreas, adrenals, and the different one is that makes males is testis, and the female as a female it's a ovary. Now we should learn what are the functions of these glands. Pituitary is secreting growth hormones, the chemical messengers. It helps in body growth, development of bones, and if it is in excess, it can lead to gigantism. The person will be giant. Then dwarfism, if there is a less secretion or the secretion is less, then we can find this disorder. Thyroid gland, which is present in the neck, it releases thyroxine and it regulates carbohydrate, protein, fat metabolism. And you know that iodine is very important for the development of thyroxine, and its low concentration can lead to enlargement of the gland and it leads to goiter. The people, those who are living in mountains, they most of the time they face this problem. And it also regulates your body metabolism, so it leads to the fat and the thin stature of the person. Now we have pancreas, very important nowadays. It is in most of the cases they come is because of disorders of pancreas, that is diabetes. So pancreas regulate blood sugar, and if it is secreted less or more, then it could lead to diabetes. So the hormone released is either insulin or glucagon. Then the glands that are different in males, the testes, which secrete hormone testosterone, which help in the development of secondary male characters. and the ovaries in female that help in the production of secondary sexual character in female, and the characters like mammary glands, menstrual cycle, and maintenance of pregnancy. The hormone they are produced are estrogen. So these chemical messengers they have a particular function, and without these alone nervous system cannot function. So both the systems, endocrine system and the neural system, they work together for the betterment of the for the better growth of the body. Now there are some glands that act both as endocrine and exocrine. What are they? They are pancreas. They produce insulin and glucagon, as well as they act as digestive enzyme producing organ also. Testes, they produce testosterone, plus they also produce male gamete or sperms. Ovaries, they produce estrogen, plus they also produce female gametes. So they have both the functions as endocrine as well as exocrine. The one more important gland that is we have not discussed here, that is the adrenal gland. And adrenal gland is also very important because it is also called as a stress. It releases a stress hormone, adrenaline, and it prevents the body during stress. So whenever you feel fear, or whenever a dog is behind you and you are in a hurry, at that time your body start producing adrenaline, and you get your body maintain your increased blood pressure, increased breathing at the time of fear. So this all is about coordination in plants and coordination in animal. Thank you.